Welcome back, everybody, to the Vegans Who Live podcast, hosted by your favorite vegans. We got Brooke Sellers, aka Miss Meatless Muscle. We have myself, John Thomas, aka the Bodybuilding Vegan, and today we got a really special guest on here for you. He's jacked. He's often out in the sun with his shirt off, rides a skateboard.
Yeah,
Zach Palmisano. Did I say it correctly?
Palmisano. Yeah, pretty
Palmisano.
close.
Yeah. All right. So check him out, guys, on Instagram. You pull him up and see if you're not watching this actually with the video. Zach_Palmisano.
That's it. Somebody's got the name without the underscore, and I don't think they've ever used the account in a decade, but it's all good.
I know exactly how that feels. If you go look, there is a bodybuilding vegan on Instagram, and I tried to take that like 15 years ago. So I have the bodybuilding vegan, which I'm not upset with now, but they haven't made a post in over a decade. What's crazy?
Right, that's where I'm at.
If you go look at their page, they've got like 4 posts. And Danny Taylor, one of our prior guests, she's got a comment over 10 years old on there saying something about like working out and being vegan. And it's just crazy that I probably saw that comment a decade ago and had no clue who she was. It's kind of cool how you're on here because we all know each other through Instagram. So very cool tool for networking.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I probably found you guys just through the hashtags I use. I try to slap a couple vegan hashtags on all my posts. I've met a lot of people. I met Zara, super sweet, who's a big vegan activist. We're actually going, my wife and I, to Halloween out with her tonight and her husband. They're both big vegans that work out at Gold's Gym. We see them all the time. I've met a lot of people through Instagram.
Yeah, you guys got the good vegan communities. I know you're in the LA area, Zach, and John has a great community in Tampa. So I just feel like I need to move.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That's where you guys are.
Yeah. You guys have a really good vegan community. And Atlanta's not terrible. I mean, there are some vegans here. It's just different. It's just a different kind of vibe here. But yeah, you guys have it good over there.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It was actually better a couple of years ago with like restaurant selections and stuff, and a lot of them went under. So I'm not sure why my face selection's on. Come on, pick it up. Yeah, that's me. You can stop now. Okay, well, maybe I'll just ignore it. But
it's not too distracting.
What's your favorite food spot out there right now?
I'm really a guy who loves the food I cook at home the most, but like, of course, it's like a little redundant to always eat at home, especially like when you're married, you want to go on date nights or if you have a significant other. So I really like to go to Planta and Marina Del Rey to eat. Yeah, so that's a good one. They're like a corporate chain. But I would say my favorite overall that I've been to in LA, probably Crossroads Kitchen. I mean, it's like an Italian plant-based style restaurant that's very upscale. A lot of big names go there too, and it's really fancy. And I think that's got a really good vibe to it. But yeah, most of the time I'm just eating at home, pretty staple vegan bodybuilding foods that I make myself.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I really like my home cooked meals, but it's like same thing. If I want to go out for a special occasion, I go out. But something I love about you is you've kind of have that, like, I don't know, in my opinion, your old school like bodybuilding approach, and you work out at that like super famous Gold's Gym. So you're representing veganism in, kind of like the bodybuilding hub, I would say. So what is that like? Do you get a lot of questions? Do you get people who are curious?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like being a pseudo celebrity. I mean, even though like some of my stuff I post does like hit or miss, like in real life, people are stopping me at the grocery store, on the sidewalk, when I walk my dogs, at the gym. I'm getting stopped all the time. I work professionally as a waiter at a vegan restaurant, and I would say most of my tables ask me a question or comment on the physique to some extent. And I get it. Like, I mean, I'm kind of an out of the ordinary person to bump into. You don't see like this level of muscularity on a regular basis every day. And it's definitely something I've worked hard for. So like at the same time, I'm like, hoping people would notice it, but it's not like I it's not like I do it for them as much as I do it for myself. I just really am a bodybuilding hobbyist, and I love building muscle and the whole process of it. But yeah, like at Gold's, I know a lot of people. I've been going there since 2017, so I've got a lot of friends there, a lot of acquaintances. I do get comments, you know, people say like I've got legs like Tom Platz. People say, you know, I've got one of the most like old school physiques in the gym, and you know, everyone works out really hard there. We do have some of like, I wouldn't say it's as hardcore as it was in like how it's portrayed in the 80s, 90s, and 70s. It's more of like an influencer, everyone type of gym nowadays. There are like the hardcore people like myself, but it's definitely a smaller percentage than what it was seen in like the documentaries back in the day. But you still see like big names. Like I see Arnold there quite a bit. I see Dolph Lundgren. I've seen Sylvester Stallone's brother. I've seen Lou Ferrigno, Mike O'Hearn. A lot of the Olympians come in there and train. So I've bumped into just about everyone at this point. There's still a lot of people that I'd like to meet that have influenced me. But yeah, it's I love Gold's Gym. So yeah, it's since COVID they open up the front side and the outside parking lots and turn them into a whole gym space, and that's what I like the most about it. I love training outside. It's nice and sunny here, and I get my tan on, so it's cool.
Very cool, man. I don't think I could do outdoor workouts in Florida. It's just too damn hot. But
I used to live in Florida. I went to school there for 3 years in Boca Raton, and yeah, it does get really, really hot. Yeah, and sometimes it might rain too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mid workout and it starts raining. That would not be fun.
Yeah, I had a good time in Florida though.
Do you compete as well?
I have competed. Last time I think was it 3 summers ago or 2 summers ago. Currently, I've kind of put it on hold. I just wanted to focus on just enjoying the process and building mass. Well, my issue was I knew how to pose really well, especially my last contest. And you can find me on NPC, Zach Palmisano. And I wasn't the size then that I was now. I was very shredded for some of those contests, but I was definitely missing a lot of. And if you don't come up to the same size comparison in classic physique as the other guys, even if you're shredded, you won't place well. So that was kind of my issue. I felt like I had a whole posing routine down. I was very lean. But I didn't have the size at that point in time. Nowadays, I have the size. Like I'm 210 mostly in the morning, like which is heavy for 5'9". And then I think when I was competing, I was like 190, like on contest day, or 193 or something like that. So I would have a better shot at it now. I don't have any plans on it currently. Like I said, I'm more of a hobbyist. I've just been doing it for fun. If I like get around to considering doing it again, like I kind of feel like I know what to do, having done it maybe 5 times now. But yeah, I haven't like turned pro or anything like that, but I definitely like every time I went in, I didn't really have a plan. I kind of had, kind of winged a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have. Like last time I went, I did 60 minutes of cardio every day for 2 months. And I actually, looking at my progress photos, I lost muscle where I was actually in better shape 4 weeks before, like as in more size. And I feel like I was just burning my muscle away the last 4 weeks of being obsessed with being shredded. And I realized that wasn't my problem. My problem was like holding on to the size. But yeah, I'm not against it. Currently not doing it.
No, I'm just guys? Curious. I mean, you a lot of your photos are really lean, so like you don't look that far out from doing a show. And you're
very balanced too. I think, and that's something that you don't see a lot, unless I feel like for me, that's almost how I can tell someone competes. Is because it's you look at them and they're pretty balanced. It's not like they just have great traps and biceps and that's it.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes through to like my training split. Like I don't ever skip anything and I try to hit everything very adequately, and I've done that since I started lifting 11 years ago. So I think it should be balanced out at this point, pretty much to the point my genetics would allow me, at least. But yeah, like I stay lean a lot of like most of the year because I don't have much of cravings for stuff. I really don't have a lot of cheat meals. I mostly eat the same stuff day in, day out. Also just to save money, I think it's like cheaper to like do that as well. And then I do skateboard maybe 1 to 2 times a week, for like maybe an hour or 2. So that is very high intensity cardio. It's basically jump squatting every time I'm doing a trick because I'm doing street skating. And then on top of that, I work 5 to 6 nights as a waiter at a busy vegan restaurant, and I'm on my feet a lot, so I'm getting a lot of like low intensity cardio in there as well. So for me to like be not lean would be unusual for the amount of activity I'm putting in, and I'm walking my dogs multiple times a day. So
probably like 20,000 steps.
Yeah, it's for real.
A lot of people have no idea how big you have to get to be successful in NPC. Your height 5'9", 210. That's not small. And I don't like to think of myself as small as 6 foot, like 240 right now, but other pros in their off seasons are getting at my height 270, 280, 290 pounds. It's just really the sport has just continued to get freakier as time has progressed.
For sure.
Samson, he just won. He's got to be close to 300 pounds on stage, which is just nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you competed in you've competed, right? And then if so, what division?
I do men's open bodybuilding.
Open bodybuilding.
So okay. I was a heavyweight last year when I got on stage. So I believe we over dieted a little bit. I have a coach, very good coach, but I think we did a little too much. Like towards the end, I was doing an hour of fasted cardio and then 40 minutes of cardio post workout. And we started prep at about 260, and I got down to my lowest weigh-in was 208, which is just for me really light. Yeah. Binged a little bit after the show and looked significantly better at like 217. Had like 12 green bites. If you haven't had green bites.
Oh yeah, I've had a couple of them boxes. My wife always eats them all.
We're running an event this weekend, so I reached out and he just sent me a whole case. Like there's like 40 of them, and I'm going to hand them out, but I'm going to try not to eat too many. Well, we got like literally I have no script. Brooke might be prepared, but I've just been enjoyed shooting the shit with you a little bit. You had mentioned you used to play the Tony Hawk Skater game, and now you skate. Did you do any other sports coming up, or just bodybuilding?
Well, I didn't do any like school or team sports. I mean, I wasn't that good at like the stereotypical gym stuff we played in high school, but like I skateboarded since age 9. And I pretty much got my influence from that game. And then I saw skate videos, and then I picked up a board around age 9. And then, I skated pretty consistently, basically until I was 17 by the time I went around to college. And then I just needed to work and be in school all the time. So I kind of fell off. A little bit of an excuse. I could have skated here and there, but I guess bodybuilding kind of took over, and I was kind of like in my head thinking, now that I'm gaining size, I'm probably not going to be good at skateboarding, so why bother? And now that I've been back 2 years, I've definitely proved myself wrong with that. My pop and my skills are very good at this point. And I have a lot of my muscle memory back. And then my hometown, skate culture was pretty big in Ocean City, Maryland is where I'm from. I shot skate videos with my friends. Sorry, I have 3 dogs, so you might hear them growling. They're all rescues. I have a Brussels Griffin pug. He might be a pug, full pug, but he kind of looks like a Brussels too. I have I think she's like a cattle dog, Belgian Malinois, and I have a Belgian Malinois. They all get along really well, and I hang out with them a lot, take them to the dog park and stuff. But I don't know any skateboarding vegans. I mean, maybe there are some. I actually have a friend who's a skateboarding vegan, but I'm talking like, I guess the professional, super well-known like world. I don't know of any. So I feel like that may have been another avenue to like help promote veganism to some extent too, because there are some bodybuilders. I don't know if many skateboarders currently.
Yeah, good point.
First bodybuilding vegan skateboarder.
Yeah, I guess. Well, actually, I have a buddy he's not a bodybuilder, but he's great at yoga. His name is Yancey, and he lives in Venice. So I see him pretty often, and he's an amazing yogi, and he skateboards and he's vegan. So he's just not a bodybuilder, but I can't do the yoga stuff he does. So he's really cool.
You guys just need to create that vegan skateboard culture. I doubt there'd be such a stereotype against it, like you've probably run into with the bodybuilding side, but that would be another cool way to promote it.
Yeah, I mean, with bodybuilding from day one, a lot of us are taught like what we just read is like, chicken, rice, and broccoli. And then some people never stray or ask any questions. And that was kind of me up until I met my wife, who is vegetarian. And then I didn't know a thing about it 5 or 6 years ago when we met. So that's when I started to learn a little bit about it. But like a lot of the stuff people come to me with, and I'm assuming you guys too, with like concerns with, is the same stuff I said 5 or 4 years ago that have a very simple remedy to it. You know, like a lot of the time people say, well, I'm not getting results, or I tried vegan and I wasn't getting results because I hadn't had enough protein or whatever. And I think they're just shooting the shit. I don't think that was ever the issue. Either they weren't training correctly, their recovery wasn't good, they weren't having enough calories, or they weren't simply eating the right vegan foods. Because personally, I'd probably only have, I mostly eat complex carbs. I probably only have like 100 to 150 Gs of protein a day, which isn't like a crazy amount, but I have one of like the biggest, densest like physiques in my gym. So it's not always about protein. Like it's important, but I think it's overblown in the fitness community because really like you can have 100 or 1,000 calories of pure protein and you could be training super hard, but 1,000 calories, you're in a deficit for the vast majority of the people, you know, so you're not going to build any muscle. In fact, you'll lose muscle even though you're eating protein, and people don't realize that. And of course, with meat, people see it as protein. That's how I used to see it. It's like, that's the stigma, but they forget about the cholesterol, you know, the victim of that piece of meat, and, you know, all the other things that come along with it.
Yeah, I do think, sorry, John, go ahead.
I'm going to say you hit the nail on the head. A lot of people will say that they've tried it without actually doing it correctly. Not to throw myself out there, but if you think protein's the issue, I get about 350 grams a day. So you can go higher if you want to. And I've probably had in the range of 200 to 300 vegan clients. Never had a problem with any of them performance-wise in the gym, whether they started as vegan or whether they transitioned to vegan while working with me. And for me, I was vegan before I ever touched a weight. So I didn't know how to cook chicken. I never ate meat while training. So it's I think if I had started like you, I would have been more entrenched, like, oh, I need this. It's been working. But there's more than one way.
Yeah, and I was always super. Oh, go ahead, Brooke. Yeah,
I was just gonna say I totally agree. I think people way overemphasize the protein, you know, dilemma with going vegan, and that's something I've actually been experimenting with recently because I just kind of needed a big step back from all of the meticulous kind of tracking and religious, just everything that I've been doing bodybuilding wise over the past like 7 years. I've tracked like every macro, you know, every step, every set, every rep. And I've lowered my protein quite significantly. And like you, I'm only getting in about like maybe 100 to 120 grams a day, which hopefully my coach doesn't hear this and kill me. But I mean, I think it's one of those things that it's like you said, the most important part is the consistency and continuously showing up, continuously challenging the muscle, filling it up with blood, with resistance training in the gym. And I think people just way overemphasize the importance of protein, and then they just give up because they can't hit their protein goals. And it's like, well, really, I mean, you could make a whole lot of progress just eating enough food. I mean, I think that's really the biggest thing is eat enough food, especially with women. A lot of women just don't even eat enough. So like, forget about protein, just eat enough food, train consistently, and actually challenge yourself when you go to the gym. Don't just, you know, like throw some weights around and like call it a day, like actually train with intention. I think people would see a lot of progress just focusing on those few things.
Right. Training with intention also goes along with, like, to me, like the mind muscle connection. Like, are you really like getting close to failure on your sets? Are you really like not using too much momentum and really feeling the force of the weight destroy the muscle tissue, you know, in an appropriate manner? To me, like, working on my mind muscle connection improved my physique dramatically, and trying to like use less momentum and cheating and things of that matter. But yeah, like I'm totally on par with you. Like I get a lot of the same concerns that you guys get from people. And yeah, a lot of this stuff is simple remedies. But yeah. So John, I had a question for you. So what is my favorite protein source currently is the super firm tofu. I love that stuff. What's your favorite like go to? And Brooke, yours too, actually. Because I know John says he eats 250 grams, something in that range, right?
350.
350. Okay. Yeah. So like, what's your go-to source? Because I'm sure like everyone asks me that, so that I tell them it's my super firm tofu. What's your guys?
For me, I can break it into like it's either going to be savory or it's going to be sweet.
Okay.
So if it's sweet, I literally right before this, that's why I was late. I was getting my pre-workout meal, which is always cream of rice with either pea or soy protein isolate. Then I'll add some fats to it, like usually almond butter. Sometimes I'll throw like a vegan donut on top or something for a little extra carbs. It depends on the day. Or green bites. I'll mix a green bites up in with it. So that'll be like the sweet side. I could also shout out to Moonman Fitness, aka Justin. He makes this TVP bowl, and he'll put like blueberries, vegan yogurt, maybe some protein powder, cinnamon, and like microwave it, and it's really good.
That sounds bomb.
So those would be like sweet options, and then savory options. I do like the super firm tofus. The fats get a little bit higher there, so if I'm trying to keep fats in check, I might use TVP, or even like I just got some tempeh made from black eyed peas and some made from yellow peas. So it's still a good bit higher in protein, but the fats are lower. Or big shout out to Say Grace. If you haven't tried them yet, they are probably like the best option for cutting. It's basically like TVP is soy protein concentrate, where it's like 80% protein, and the Say Grace is soy protein isolate, so it's like 90% protein. So like a serving size might be 20 grams of protein, 4 or 5 carbs, and like a gram of fat, if that, or half a gram of fat. So it's very macro friendly, and I like to mix that with like either sugar-free barbecue sauce, or throw it in with like beans, or really like it's very similar to any of the fake meats you'd get at the store, but it's just dehydrated when you get it. So that's I usually have a couple meals of that a day, just because it's so macro friendly and it takes a long time to chew. So I feel like I'm eating a lot of food.
Awesome. Yeah. I remember when I competed, I would cut my fats the lowest, and so it's better to switch to like isolate powders and stuff of that matter, because tofu does have a little bit of fat. But when I don't have a goal to get shredded at the moment for like a show, it's okay for me at least to have like a little bit of higher fat. But I'm also like usually just getting it from like the tofu itself. I'm not slapping like tons of oil and mayo on everything, like maybe a little bit here and there, like olive oil and all that. But like, and I'm talking vegan mayo, like Veganese or something like that. But like,
that's good stuff.
Yeah. What about you, Brooke?
Lately, for a long time it would have been seitan, but I've gotten so sick of seitan I can't even eat it right now. Right now I am on a TVP kick, because I've been making a lot of like soup since it's getting cold here, and I can just, throw some stuff. Like I just throw a bunch of veggies in the Instant Pot, some like, diced tomatoes, some spices, and then I just throw my TVP in there, and then I have a high protein chili or soup or stew. So that has been my jam lately.
Nice. Yeah, I've been making soup too. My staple is in my pressure cooker, just jasmine rice, lentils, and then I mix that with my tofu and maybe some spices and a little oil or something like that. And that's kind of like my staple bodybuilding meal, but I change it up. In the morning, it's always like I mix like bran flakes, oats, and some isolate powder as well, and like a banana. But yeah, like I'm not like a gourmet chef or anything, so people do ask like, like what are some foods you eat that are super yummy? I'm like, usually I'm not making those a lot of time myself. They're usually just like they're good, but they're not like super crazy yummy meals, and they're usually like cheaper meals. I'm just like, because like at the end of the day, like I'm not looking to make, like, that's not a goal of mine to have like the yummiest meal every couple hours. Like I'm just trying to build muscle for cheap. even though I'm vegan, you know? Like, and like the thing is, you lose a lot of the cravings to, like, I really don't crave savory, sweet stuff very much at all because you get so used to eating a certain type of way.
And it's just so much better. Like when you start cooking from home and you just know how to spice and flavor your food, it's just so much better to me than like the stuff you buy out. It tastes good because they fill it with a bunch of artificial crap or a bunch of oil. But when you make food taste good at home, it's because of all these like really nice spices and herbs. But I run into the same problem, and I'm sure, John, you do too, is like people always want recipes. It's like whenever I share, what content do you guys want to see? They're always like recipes. And I'm like, well, I do have some recipes, but most of my meals, they're just really simple because I eat for results and then it gets expensive. Like, you know, the more creative you try to get with your meals. And I have been, working on recipes and trying to do like high protein cinnamon rolls and high protein brownies and all this stuff. And I'm like, God, I'm like running to the grocery store all the time.
I do too.
I lean into what I know. Like, I'm not going to be Natalie Matthews. There's no way I'm going to make a cookbook like hers. I'm like the 5 ingredients, 5 minutes in the microwave or less. That's me. But some people like that because that's where they're at. Like, you know, that's the people that I can cater to. For you, Brooke, like if with soups, like the other day, I literally had frozen peas, frozen carrots, say grace, salt, and garlic.
I have to try say grace.
Yeah. It was like chicken noodle soup, just without noodles. Like double up on the chicken, no noodles. And macros are great. Still get your veggies. Probably would have been better if I added like a little bit of olive oil or some sort of fat to it, or like a cashew butter or something, or cashew milk, but like or oat milk. Or not oat milk, coconut milk. I don't know, but for me it worked. So I'm lazy. I'm so over. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. Like in this vegan community, I feel like we all have our angle to like kind of, you know, for activism. And, you know, I don't think there's so many vegan chefs out there they're already making amazing content, amazing food. They're doing their thing. And, you know, like for us, we're showing them the muscles that can be built with vegan food. So I feel like that's more like my angle is like, I feel like my niche in bodybuilding is kind of like to show like an old school bodybuilding kind of physique / lifestyle and but vegan. And so that's my angle along with skateboarding. And like you guys, you know, John, you're super heavyweight. So you've got all kinds of clients in bodybuilding. So, and like Brooke, you're the same way. So like I'm saying, I can't do like every aspect of activism. I feel like, such as like being a vegan chef. It would be cool too, but I feel like it's hard to even just pull all my time into like one little niche, you know?
Yeah. Do you know Eddie Garza? He's a vegan chef and he does a lot of cooking in LA.
No, I haven't heard.
He's actually one of my clients. He's like a TV chef, but usually on like the Spanish channels. He learned Spanish and that's where he does like a lot of vegan cooking. So he's probably going to come and do like a tour in Florida. Cool. And I'll go like help him cook. And then we can talk about bodybuilding and then also watch him actually make some really good food. So there's ways to cross it over.
I like to watch them make the food. And then I'm like, and then sometimes the ingredient list, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to buy all that.
Yes, that's me. Like, okay, yeah, no. If it's like more than 10 ingredients, I'm like, I'm out. Yeah, this is too much for me.
Yeah. I think the vegan like restaurants, like I'm not gonna name the one I work at just because I don't know. I don't want the world knowing where I work, but
yeah.
But yeah, like I do love working. I've been a waiter professionally for a long time. Excuse my dogs, they're fine. And I also the thing is I only work night times, which I love. I can have the day off to skate, make content, go to the gym with, you know, the sunlight. And I'm, you know, off before midnight, which is great. And then I also do acting. I'm in SAG-AFTRA, so it allows me to have the flexibility to get off pretty much whenever I want. So when I do have roles, I can easily get to them. Like I guess the biggest one I was in this year was the espresso video for Sabrina Carpenter. I was one of the
Yes, I saw that. I was like, what the heck? That is so cool. I love her. I'm obsessed with her music right now. That was so cool.
Yeah. So I've been like acting, you know, like I'm a working actor. I get stuff sometimes. It's not super consistent, but that's why you have to have a job, like waiting tables, And I also am certified PT, so I'm working on getting more like in-home clients. So waiting table is a great way to find people, especially at a vegan restaurant when you're a vegan coach, basically, starting out. But yeah, so that was one of my major reasons I wanted to move to LA. Of course, like a lot of actors, it's the number one place to do it, really. So I've done a lot of like extra work, but I have an agent. But like, so I hope that hopefully that's going to be like another one of my angles. Like, Walk Queen Phoenix is a big vegan. He's an activist. He actually comes to my restaurant occasionally. Same with James Cameron. I served him. He made the Game Changers documentary, and I have a picture with him and talked to him. So I run into a lot of big vegan names there too. So it's really, it's great network.
I'm gonna have to come out there next time I'm in LA. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. Joaquin Phoenix is really like next level. Like he's somebody that I really look up to because he is an actor, but at every single like acceptance speech, he never even talks about the movie. He just talks about animal rights. And it's like, for me, like at my last bodybuilding show, I picked like an animal activism song to pose to, because it's like, I got 60 seconds. Might as well make them listen to whatever I want them to hear. So, like it's just, that's how we can change the world, is by kind of breaking these stereotypes. So you with the skateboard and the bodybuilding angle, I think it's doing a lot, and you're really down to earth. Like, this is our first time talking, but it's been super easy, probably because you're a waiter. You know how to talk in front of people. No issues on a podcast.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it helped me tremendously with my like social anxiety. I mean, I was always friendly to people and stuff, but I feel like before I was a waiter, like, I don't know, like 6 years ago, and I definitely struggled to like talk to strangers or strike up a random conversation. Now I feel like I can talk to anyone on the streets anytime, because sometimes I greet tables of 40 people and I have to go talk to every single person at the table and ask them, what they want to drink or eat and stuff like that. And like I said, most of my tables end up asking me about bodybuilding, which is great. So I am basically doing activism at work. So I love that aspect as well. But it's not like I don't think I want to be doing it forever. Of course, like I would love to be more in the vegan community, skateboarding, acting, something, or bodybuilding. But I feel like until those things grow, like it's a great way to like have the time to be able to pursue those things. So yeah, and I know you guys are big coaches, so I mean, you're straight up making turning non-vegans into vegans, right? Most of the time, or is it mostly like vegans getting more fit, or is it a little bit of both?
A little bit of both for me.
Yeah, a little bit of both. I'll have people come to me. If they come online, there's a good chance they're vegan or like plant curious or already on their way there. Yeah. I'd rather call people either vegan or pre-vegan, try and encourage them. I get a lot of pre-vegans at the gym. They'll be like, "Oh my God, you're big. I want to work with you." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Like, I'm building your diet. Are you vegan?" Like, no, I don't know any vegan foods. I'm like, "Okay, cool. Well, write out what you normally eat, and 2 of your meals are just going to happen to be vegan." Like, I don't even tell them that. It's just like, "Oh, tofu's in your diet. Like, go try it." One lady I just started working with, she was vegetarian, and I cut out everything other than eggs to give her a chance to try some other foods. And it's like, it's not 100%. I also view this as a game. I'd rather get all the people that are pre-vegan that come to me, get them 50% vegan, than to turn them away for not being vegan and have them go work with another coach that's going to give them nothing vegan on their plan. So over time, you can, especially when they realize, oh, I've cut my meat intake in half, and I'm getting bigger, and I'm feeling better, and I'm losing fat. What if I went all the way? And like, you can still get jacked either way. You can still get lean either way. But once they try it and they have at least the same, if not better results, then it's not as hard of a conversation. I used to, at the start, really just kind of try to stay out of it. But now I view it as both an ethical to the animals and ethical to the client obligation to get them as healthy as possible. And I do sincerely believe that plant-based for everyone is the healthiest. Now, you might have to change some things, especially if you're gluten intolerant or allergic to soy or something like that. You might have to get creative, but still, for everyone, I don't believe there's anyone in the world that I've worked with that we'd be better off eating meat or a standard American diet.
Right. We're all anatomically and physiologically the same. So one thing I've noticed health-wise in particular, before I went vegan, I had a blood panel done and my LDL cholesterol was 155, which is rather in the high zone. You know, they always tell me that high cholesterol runs in my family because, yeah, my family's like heavy meat eaters and they've always had high cholesterol. They take statins. So my doctor just recommended cut out red meat, cheese, and fried foods. And I was like, sure. So my wife was already vegetarian. So I started just eating more stuff she was eating. And then we saw we binge watched quite a few of the documentaries like What the Health, Dominion, Game Changers. And then we just made the switch overnight back in like 2020 of May, I believe it was. And then we went vegan. And then I had a blood panel done a year later and all my cholesterol panels were significantly better. Right now, my LDL, which is your bad cholesterol, lays around the 60s to 70s. I get it done every like couple months. And which is amazing. I mean, that's way in the green zone. And I'm 210 pounds and I'm consuming probably more calories than most, the average person. So my cholesterol is significantly better. So, I mean, basically like with that high LDL over time, as we know it, it contributes to that plaque buildup in your arteries, which can cause a heart attack or a stroke. And that's kind of the route I was going. And the last time I was vegan, I was 180 pounds, mind you. It's not, people say, oh, you're jacked and you were already jacked. And then you just went vegan. So you had the muscles from before you were vegan. I was like, I was 180 pounds. I have photos. Like, last time I went vegan, I'm 210 now. And by that logic, I wouldn't be able to hold on to my muscle either if I went to vegan, and then, so yeah. And I've never been, if I thought something would genuinely benefit me, I wasn't so like against it, even if it was so ingrained in me. So I thought when I saw there was like bean burgers and all this, like basically meat substitute stuff made from like wholesome ingredients. Of course, there's better stuff and worse stuff when it comes to that. I was just like, cool, let's try it. And one of my biggest influences before I went vegan, when my wife and I were in Bali in Indonesia, I remember I was kind of like running low on cash at the time because I've been traveling for months. And instead of getting chicken at the grocery store, I was looking at some other protein options because it was expensive there. And I saw in banana leaves wrapped up tempeh, and the shit was like 30 cents a fucking brick. And I was like, I Googled it and it's like full of protein. And I'm like, oh, I'm just going to eat this. And I ate it the rest of the trip. It was like $10 chicken versus 30-cent tempeh and banana leaves. And Bali, like in Indonesia, tempeh is huge. So that's when I started going more vegan without me really even thinking twice about it too. And then the following spring is when we went vegan.
That makes a ton of sense because meat, it's not cheap to make. We have these giant factory farms in the United States, which can drive some of the costs down, but other countries like that, they probably don't have the giant factory farms where soy is cheap. And tempeh being fermented, it's a fermented food, is good for gut health. And a lot of people don't know this or don't think about it, but the reason meat is cheaper in the stores in the United States is we all pay as citizens, we pay tax to lower the cost of meat. So it's built into our system here against my will. And probably any other vegans will. Yeah, it's subsidized. So like you said, when you travel, meat's not going to be anywhere near as cheap as the United States. I do want to throw out, we've gone a little over. I think we had a half-hour limit for you. What time do you need to hop off? You got to go?
I did my math wrong, and I thought this was supposed to start 10:30 over here. So I have well until 11. So yeah, if you guys, I don't know if you guys are in a rush or not, but yeah, I'm good to go. So just let me know. Yeah.
It's been, I didn't even realize like we've already gone over. I thought we had half an hour, but we're 40 minutes, so we can keep rolling. This has been fun. We can go for a little bit longer.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever questions or other topics you guys want to talk about.
So, I don't know, Brooke. What's on the schedule?
Oh, I thought you had something because you were like, I'm going to throw something out. You said I thought you were about to throw something out there. Oh,
well, I was throwing out either the time or the meat being expensive in the rest of the world versus the United States. So yeah, you guys went vegan right around, it had to have been during the COVID times then.
Yeah, we actually
which,
got married during the first week of COVID lockdown because, long story short, K1 visa process is why I was traveling. And then around that same time, like 2 months later, we just were on Netflix watching documentaries, and we saw the What the Health and a couple others. And then obviously I had my blood panel done. My cholesterol was high, so it was like a no-brainer. Let's try veganism. And then I bought like soy curls from Amazon, bought some tofu, started to learn some stuff, nutritional yeast, all that kind of stuff. And like the thing, like a lot of people that aren't vegan don't realize is once you consume protein, your body breaks down amino acids. It doesn't really matter the source, but we know the source of meat also has cholesterol, which contributes to that higher cholesterol in the body, amongst other things. And when you consume carbs, the same thing happens. It gets broken down. It goes to glycogen. So as long as you're hitting the right calorie and macronutrient goal, I mean, of course, we know, historically speaking, bodybuilders can get jacked on an animal-based diet. But that the stigma is like, we've always seen them eat meat, so why wouldn't we eat meat? Well, the thing is, there's never really been any vegan bodybuilders trying it, or bodybuilders trying veganism up until relatively recently, right? So we're all getting the same results. Like, you know, John, you, me, Brooke, you just have to train hard, recover, eat the right amount of calories and macronutrients, and your body's going to grow muscle.
Yeah, it can be done. And actually, okay, I do have something. Just this last weekend, I should know his name. I feel bad for not knowing his name, but I just learned who he was. A guy based out of Brazil. I tried to get him on the podcast. He speaks Portuguese only right now, but I don't speak Portuguese, and I can't downplay anybody for speaking other languages because I only speak one. But I would love to get him on soon. But he just turned pro in men's IFBB, and so he's the first pro men's open vegan bodybuilder in the world. And
that's what we need.
2024. Yeah, that's exactly what we need. And I think it'll be first of many. Like, I know we have Nimai, and he turned pro in men's physique, and same with Tori Washington. But this is the first men's open pro. So kind of like the big dogs of bodybuilding, the freaks, and seeing him do it, I think will open the doors for other people. I think finally people will not have an excuse other than they don't want to, not that it can't be done. So I'm super, for me, that put a lot of wind in my sails.
Right. Yeah, I was hyped about that too. I hadn't heard about the guy till I think Plant-Based News reposted it. And yeah, that was amazing. I hope he also goes to like the American Olympia and Arnold Classic and so on and so on. I mean, I think he will, because that would be just amazing to see people start to realize that similar level of muscularity, vegan, is standing right next to the guys who are doing the same things but not vegan.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I was thinking the same things. I saw a woman enter the pro leagues. She's a vegan and she's bikini, but it was, I think, somewhere in Europe. So it's still a huge accomplishment, but I'm very excited for people to start actually coming to the American Olympia and competing there and actually standing next to some of these top people. I think absolutely that's certainly what we need is all of the divisions to be able to represent veganism in some sort of way. So yeah, it'll be exciting. I would love for him to come to America. That would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, with bodybuilding in particular, it's great that nowadays we have vegans representing the sport in many different sizes and shapes, in different kinds of athletic fields as well. Whereas mine right now, I'm not sure if I'm going to go back into competing. I think it's really cool, but I've noticed, like, in particular, my skateboarding content does actually much better than my bodybuilding content. So I think that might be like a new angle for me to explore, to be like a hybrid athlete. And maybe at some point I will enter a skate contest once my skills are pretty sufficient. But right now I'm taking baby steps. And I think, my activism role right now in athletics is like being like this hybrid athlete, where people are seeing, I'm reaching out into two communities bodybuilding and skateboarding. They're both seeing my content, seeing that vegan label slapped on the bio, and and I hope that, and then I have my book where I'm basically promoting vegan bodybuilding and explaining it, and I'm hoping that helps more people into the door, because I try to make my content not so like the average person would see it and not be like turned off by veganism. Like, I don't want to come off like guilt tripping people or come off like offensively to them, because like anything, it turns people away. So especially with something that's a whole like changes what's ingrained in their head, like it was for me, like things take like baby steps, and just showing someone someone who's talented in a certain field, who's eats a certain way that they're not completely familiar with, without being too like guilt tripping on their end, like telling them like, oh, the reason you're not like this because you're not vegan or something like that is. So that's kind of like the way I'm thinking right now. I think we have all kinds of different people making different kind of content with activism, but I think that's just my angle. And I think it's working pretty well, but yeah, time will tell if I change things up.
I think that angle works really well. I think it's always best to approach people from being non-judgmental and kind of letting people like see the light in their own way. And I know me and John, we but definitely have that approach, and we've pretty much been lucky enough. Almost everybody on this podcast kind of has that same approach where they activate and they promote veganism, but it's in a way that is positive. And even Robert Cheek, we had Robert Cheek on, and I mean, he wrote a whole book about it and how, to effectively be a vegan activist. And to me, and I know for me personally, that's what worked for me, is people who were more so just educating rather than, making me feel bad, making me feel like I was an animal abuser. Because at the time, I just didn't make that connection. I didn't realize exactly what I was contributing to. So for somebody to attack me in that way, I would have probably gotten defensive and just been offended. But being educated on it, and then also caring about my health, also caring about the planet, realizing I'm being hypocritical for rescuing dogs and, loving my shelter pets, but then there's these animals being abused in factories. I'm like, okay, I can see now that this is very hypocritical for me to support the meat and dairy industry, but then, I call myself an animal lover. So I do feel like that approach is always best, because it allows people to, I think, also make mistakes, because we're all going to make mistakes when we first go vegan.
Yeah, 100.
And I think when there's all that pressure on you to be perfect, it's the same thing kind of with a fitness journey, like people feel like it's that all or nothing. Like, oh my gosh, if I can't eat my spinach and kale and do 2 hours of cardio every day, might as well not do it at all. Screw it. Right. And I think it's kind of the same thing with some people transitioning to veganism. So it allows people to make mistakes. It allows people to be human and to like make it a journey rather than, be in like some sort of shameful box if they make a mistake. So I really like that approach with promoting veganism, is to just be inclusive. And like John said, they're pre-vegans. They're soon to be vegans. They just need to see the light. They need to be educated.
Yeah, it's crazy. It takes a while to learn what's like vegan and not vegan. Like I didn't know until like maybe 2 years in that suede wasn't, that 35mm film wasn't, that condoms weren't vegan. So like there's a lot of stuff that we're always learning too.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. I think for people to not get overwhelmed, the biggest impact they can make is their food choices. Like 99.9% of animals are killed for food. So like if you're still a photographer and using film, or if you're using condoms, like you're not at anywhere on my list of somebody where it's like, oh, we need to change that right now. Like you need to feel bad about this. Like if you can change your food, or if you go out with a friend and they try a vegan meal with you, like that's going to make so much bigger of an impact than worrying about a leather belt. I'm not saying like go out and seek a leather belt, but like if you bought one on accident and it's too late to return it, I wouldn't beat myself up for that. Right. I think for me, the biggest form of, we all have public platforms. So we get to promote it here. Having it in your bio or in a hashtag, that will raise awareness and raise eyes. Not everybody listening to this has that, but everybody listening to this, I'm pretty sure, wears a t-shirt. And if we could all every day wear like a vegan t-shirt when we go to the gym, when we go to the store, not only does that get that message out there and get people thinking about it, seeing it, but it also makes a lot of connections. You'll make a lot more friends. When I go to vegan events, I'll ask somebody, are you vegan? And they're like, oh my God, yeah, I am. And you are too. And I'm like, well, I look at you, nothing screams vegan because you just look like a normal person. You look like a normal, happy person. But if you had a shirt or a hat, then I would have known. And then anybody else you run into today would know. And, you know, I sell shirts for animal charities, but like, I don't care whether or not you get a shirt from me or you go on Amazon and get one. But like, that's, I think, one of the ways that we can really spread this. And you don't have to be a jacked bodybuilder here. You can, like Zach, like, you know, you can do a lot with it. But I think even just putting a smile on your face while you're wearing the shirt, that's going to make people ask questions. They'll be like, well, what is this vegan thing? Like, can I try it? What do I need to do? And get that conversation flowing. So this is really for anybody else listening, not for the 3 people on here. Like we already pretty much do this, but anybody has that power to, every time they leave the house, to make that change and show other people what we're about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of us grow up with our stereotypical pets, like you were saying, like dogs, cats, but you know, very few of us grow up on farms nowadays where you actually connect with cows and pigs and chickens, of that matter. And you know, I've gone to like Gentle Barn and some of the like animal rescues, and like you'll see they're just like our dogs and cats. Like they're emotionally intelligent, and people just don't have that connection because they're never actually spending any time with these animals. And then especially like nowadays, we have so many options in the store to not eat them. We're not in survival mode. We all go to the grocery store, especially if you're watching this podcast. That you really don't have to eat these creatures, which is, you know, and unfortunately, a lot of them are mass bred into, you know, a cruel life. And, you know, we just have to end the breeding, and that starts with veganism. Like, you know, the less demand there is for meat and dairy, the less animals will be bred into a horrible existence. And that's, you know, the goal for a lot of us vegans. We've made that connection with animals. We've made that connection with our health and our well-being. And we just hope that, you know, people start at least seeing our angle more than us just being like a stereotypical judgmental person's like shaming you for eating meat. Like we want them to make the connection and see like what we saw, and how these, you know, animals are sentient beings just like us. And especially like with the bodybuilding aspect, one of the biggest concerns is protein. And as we know, like the bodybuilding angle shows that plenty of us vegans that are actively using protein to build muscle aren't having any issue getting it from the plant world.
Yeah. And you said you wrote a book on this as well?
Yeah, kind of. It's mostly like basics of bodybuilding. It says my workout routine, my workout philosophies, a little bit of my vegan angle, stuff like that. So it's like a 40-page like ebook. It's not like a huge book. But yeah, it's like a super great like little like handbook for those just starting out or wanting to learn like my routine. I follow kind of like we all have our different preferences, but like I basically describe like recovery and how I kind of follow like a variation of Mike Mentzer's heavy duty applied with veganism, of course. And that's been working really well for me, where I train each muscle like once per week. I have lots of rest days. I follow like a very high intensity approach with like just adequate volume, but not very high volume. I explain like, you know, cardio and stuff like that. So that's kind of like, I have like business cards and I hand that out to pretty much anyone that asks about my bodybuilding. And people say that people really like it because it's really like, it's an easy read, and it's basically breaks down, you know, my bodybuilding regimen and how muscle building works, and, you know, vegan diet and like what I eat, supplements I take and things like that. It's called The Regimen. It's on my website, zachpalmisano.com, or in my Instagram bio link. But yeah, I can send you guys a copy.
Yeah, I would love to. I did not know you had that available for people.
Yeah, I promote it. And I think that's a big part of this. A lot of people just don't know where to start. So you got a really easy guide to get people started on this journey. So cool, brother. Well, I do want to be respectful for your time, and Yeah, just say thank you for coming on. I definitely want to meet up in person next time I'm out in LA. And
yeah, absolutely, both of you guys. Or if I'm out,
I don't know if
where are Georgia or Tampa, right?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Got it.
Let us know if you're out here. I don't know if I'll get on a skateboard, but we could get a lift in for sure and eat some food.
Yeah.
Honestly, it kind of blows people's minds. I draw like a little crowd a lot of the time when I skate with my shirt off. People are like,
"Oh yeah,
Noodle." It's my dog.
His name is Noodle.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. All right. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you share this with at least one friend. This is the Vegans Who Live podcast. We'll see y'all next week.